Hello, hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Are things working? Okay, excellent. Oh, so it sounds like I'm talking to myself. Wonderful. We love that. I'm not crazy. We're having technical issues because it wouldn't be one of our shows without technical issues. But so there's the image on screen. There's quite a few variations of what people think it is. A lot of people seem to think it's a misc. I personally look. They after the whole Raptor incident, I don't know what to trust. I don't know what to believe anymore at this point. So, but based on the wings, how it's fairly similar to a lot of other stuff Misk has made, it does look, Misk made in a sense.
All right, maybe you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, yes, it does look misc made for sure.
I'm hoping we can hear you.
I hope. If not, then it's the Icarus show.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh no, bad times. Drex arrived. Woo! And apparently my mic is peaking like crazy. Woo!
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're off to a great start.
It's not supposed to be like this.
So actually, Harabek, or Swerve as I know you, I didn't forget my whole audio source library on Twitch just decided to, or not Twitch, on OBS decided to delete itself. Like, vent the whole thing. So my 6 audio sources, I had none of them.
Why? Because yes.
Why? Because why not? Yeah,
It
some.
wouldn't.
Oh,
It
no,
wouldn't be
go
one of
ahead.
our shows without something breaking.
Oh, exactly. So, yeah, to anybody that's wondering, this is the Misk What's It Fucks It. We don't know what it is. It is just a What's It Fucks It.
It is the thing. It is a misc thing.
It is a
That's
it is a thing that is
that's
indeed
about it.
Misk. And I'm glad that
But
that's what we started talking about.
but it could also here's the really fun fact. We could also be incredibly wrong.
Well, and then you see the second one, and then I don't know. I think we're pretty right.
That's kind of where I am.
Those came off of the same ship. Those are the same stripies. They're not the same spot, but they're the same type. They're the same type of stripies. So this is a Misk
Yeah.
something.
I mean, look, Miss could use some love. I'm not even gonna lie. They could definitely use a probably nicer, newer ship.
That would be nice.
But we don't get nice things here.
No, no. Some people have said maybe it's a freelancer rework. I'd be a little shocked, but like, I don't think I'd be mad.
No, I don't think it'd necessarily be a bad thing.
No, it wouldn't be a thing that would tick me off. I don't know why you would rework the freelancer, but like you could.
I mean, it would also surprise me that they wouldn't just tell us, "Hey, this is the rework on the freelancer." It wouldn't make sense to sit here and hide it behind some weird veil for. To me, they would only get backlash if they acted like, "Hey, this is a new ship," but hey, this actually isn't a new ship.
Yeah, which like we've seen what CIG marketing team's capable of. They might be capable of that.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's plausible.
That is not out of the realm of things for them to do.
No, of all the things they could do, I would not be shocked.
Oh, we can just hope that it's actually. I want good ships. Like they've been doing fairly well recently, especially with the Firebird stuff like that. So it's like I'm hoping we're not gonna get into this weird trend of them spitting out ships that people are kind of whatever about. Because we're waiting on the Zeus, which we have good news with that. With Pyro, we're getting the exploration version.
Yep, and the cargo version has now been added to that list.
Oh, it has.
Yes, I think the cargo version is coming to a 0.1 patch, by the sounds of it. If I've said the wrong thing, Swerve will undoubtedly correct me in our chat. So. Well, since Swerve said it in our chat, talked about the Peregrine.
Yes.
We'll pull up what we've got as far as a picture. We normally don't show leaks, but this thing has been all across the internet, and I am very intrigued by it. So we'll pull it up. This is the new Saber. I will say 100%. This is just a leaked image. We have no idea how accurate or inaccurate
it's not official.
No. Like, someone has claimed to have pulled this from the files, but there's still a lot that can change between in-game and pulled from files.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
So let me read the little blurb, because somebody also managed to grab the description out of it. After seeing what fans of the Saber Raven were able to do, or what? Okay, I'm gonna restart so I don't stroke. After seeing what fans of the Saber Raven were able to accomplish with the fighter on the racetrack, the design team at Aegis Dynamics were inspired to craft an official racing variant for the Agile ship. Enter the Saber Peregrine. Streamlined and featuring additional thruster boosts, this nimble bird is ready to fly across the finish line. I have no idea what additional thruster boosts means, but okay.
Help me, I'm scared.
Help.
What do you mean it goes faster?
It's the Raven, but like quick. And that's a hard thing to say because the Raven is already quick.
Yeah, just a bit. Like,
oh, does it have a ram scoop? Have we seen the bottom of it? I have not seen the bottom of their ship, so I have no idea if there's a ram scoop. He could be talking out of his butthole. Or he's gonna instantly prove himself right here. But with that said, new Saber, racing ship. We don't know much else other than racing ship, and obviously what Swerve is typing in the stream chat on Twitch. BRB Reddit.
I mean, in all honesty, I'm kind of whatever about. I know it's another racing ship, which isn't bad, but we literally just got a Saber, and now they're already talking about another one.
Yeah.
But again, to me, this comes to the backlog of ships of like, look, I'm not against it, but there's a lot of other ships people want that we would prefer you'd give us.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to see something other than the Saber, and like I like the Saber and the Raven chassis, but like guys, CIG. I'm talking to the devs that don't watch our stream, the devs that are probably never going to watch our stream. Maybe give us something other than a Saber,
please.
I know we asked for it, but guys, this is too much. We're good.
We have to stop.
It's like when you're at like an Italian restaurant and the waiter comes over with that little cheese grater thing.
You don't stop with the cheese.
And he just keeps going. Just keeps cranking.
It's like, that's enough. Sir, please, that's enough.
Nah, he goes in, pulls the thing out, slaps another brick in like he's reloading a gun in Call of Duty, and just keeps on going.
Oh my god. I I don't know. I'm all good, a-okay with them doing ships and everything. Oh, more ships are always nice, but at what point are we, I don't know. I feel that we've had this conversation quite a bit. I feel as well of like we really, really, really have some ships we want to see, and it just does not feel like we are ever getting them.
I do like a little bit of diversity in what we get, admittedly. Like, I'm hoping that the sneak peeks of this new Misk ship that we're getting dictate that, like, this Misk ship is, like, gonna be straight to flyable. I don't actually think it will be. I think this is gonna be probably a little ways out. But it would be nice to see another Misk ship. It'd be nice if it was this patch.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Just like the last ships we've gotten weren't all sabers.
Hmm. Yeah, we would enjoy some variety.
Exactly. So speaking of ships, and going back to the namesake of our show this week, the ship Crashdown. We were wrong a lot last week. Our predictions were not right.
Yeah, we were. I'll admit I was horribly wrong at a few points, and I was shook though.
I was not expecting what we got out of the showdown. So I'm gonna scroll the page down slowly, and we'll see what the other face-offs come to. I guess first things first. So for today's face-off, 600i versus Terrapin. Terrapin is going to take it. They're already up 2,000 votes, and by the time you get 1,000 votes up, you have already won. Most ships win within the first 15 minutes of the day.
Existence.
Yep. So keep on rolling.
I'm not gonna lie, this one surprised me.
This one today? Yeah. No, I agree.
Because the 600i, for as long as I have known it to appear on this, has always crushed. No matter what happens, no matter what's going on, it is just it's there. It wins.
No. So I have a very hot take statement, or I guess train of thought that I will go into once we're done talking about the brackets, just about the whole thing altogether. But this one is definitely an example of my my later rant.
Oh boy. Okay.
So we'll blow the lid off of our first showdown from last week, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
or I guess we'll just show at the top of the page because the C1 and the Ursa medevac went off like 2 days ago, but whatever. So C1 versus Ursa. As expected, the C1 just crushed the Ursa medevac.
I'm not gonna lie, a little sad on that one.
I was not sure how well the medevac was gonna do, but I also, and I don't know if I said it last week. Maybe I backed the medevac last week out of pure insanity, but I don't know whether or not I'm thinking straight this week. It makes sense the C1 won over the medevac. The Ursa's got so many paints, and like it's not as popular a vehicle, even if it is the most popular of the Ursas right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the C1 carries the C1 and A1, which are they're two of the most popular ships this year. I don't want to say the most popular, but two of the most popular.
No, that's. I mean, in all honesty, at the end of the day, that's fair. But man, I really wanted the medevac to win. I'm kind of bummed it didn't.
And it did not do amazingly, admittedly, which is like it got over 10,000 votes, which is better than some vehicles in the showdown have gotten, but it did get trounced pretty hard by, I think, about. Actually, I'll look at it again. By about 8,000 votes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big gap.
So the gap was non-recoverable.
No.
We'll scroll
Oh
down.
well.
We'll reach today. So today is this guy right here. We already think the Terrapin's going to take it.
Yeah, Terrapins. That and look, I'm gonna be honest. 600i is one enough. I'm totally the Terrapin winning. Maybe it'll motivate them to actually work on the ship.
Yeah, like I'm okay with this from like this is what Ship Showdown's going to be perspective. Again, when I get into my rant, I will go into more detail on how I actually feel about this.
Oh boy.
Racing. This was one that we had no idea was going to go out the way it did.
We swore on our lives it was gonna be, the what was it, the M50?
Yep, and I would be 100% honest. I think the deal here is that the M50 Fury, the Fury is easier to fly, and more people want the easier to fly ship, even though the M50 is a more rewarding racer.
Honestly, fair.
Like I think that that's how that happened, and I would not be shocked about that. Like I'm a little upset because I love the M50, but like
Mm.
I don't think it's crazy that it happened.
The
Definitely wasn't my prediction.
shock value is not there that it won.
No, like it's not astonishing that it didn't win because it is a harder ship to fly. So people are probably voting for easier ships to fly.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Reclaimer Vulture. That one was actually incredibly tight.
I'll say that one we had a toss up. We were kind of like, really, both kind of deserve it.
Yeah, both deserve to win, and both will likely do well. And like we said, both ended up doing well in the end.
Oh yeah,
but Reclaimer took it, which I think. Let's go back and think about the ships here that have won in Best in Show.
Mm-hmm.
Of the ships that won the first year, the only two that have gotten close to semifinal. Well, I guess we don't know yet. We don't know if the Reclaimer is going to beat the Fury. But if the Reclaimer beats the Fury, which is tomorrow, then
I would genuinely be surprised if it does not beat the Fury.
Oh, I would be shocked as well. But that said,
I'll say we were wrong before.
I would say that said, like we have made lots of predictions, and every prediction we make is incorrect. But I will say, like, if the Reclaimer takes it again tomorrow and ends up in the semifinal, it is the second of the original Ship Showdown winners to come back to the winner's circle. Not the second ship ever to come back to the winner's circle, but of the original Ship Showdown ships, back when there weren't very many ships and things were almost entirely based on the merits of each ship alone. The Reclaimer won back then. Seeing it win again would be a very, very nice thing for all the Reclaimer fans and community.
And honestly, as far as ships go, there's zero reason to dislike the ship.
Mm-hmm. And
it's had its issues. But that's Star Citizen. That's every ship has some issue.
Exactly. Okay. We're gonna segue super quick because Swerve found me an image. We'll segue out, segue back. He found the underside of the Peregrine. He is right. When you when you make a Peregrine, that involves ripping out the missile bay or EMP bay that is on the Raven or Firebird. And you get a force injection ram scoop right on the bottom of the ship.
Well, okay, so it is 110% purely racing.
Yeah, like there's not really anything else in there. Because that's the mission package. Like, very clearly it's a racing ship because they've ripped the mission package out. So.
I mean, if it's going to do its role, at least it's going to do it correctly.
Mm.
So no complaints on this end for that. I don't know if we really needed another saber.
No, I'm not sure either. I don't know if another saber is required. But hey, racing saber.
Another racing competitor.
Yep, another ship to go. Another ship to go in this bracket. It's funny if that had come out. If that had come out like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, even when they
100% won.
Yeah, when they were expecting for the patch to come out, the Speed Demons bracket would likely have been Saber Peregrine, and it probably would have pushed out the salvage option. So that's funny. Just how different this is all shaken out because the ship didn't come out when it was technically supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Back on Ship Showdown, we've got this bracket here, the one that doesn't really matter.
Ew. Alien.
I, out of protest, didn't even vote for this one. So, as you can see, I can't see what the numbers end up total because I didn't vote. So I can't actually show off the numbers. But
just if you voted your Cino scum.
Yeah, like Solin won, I guess. It's not really gonna matter.
Yeah, so your competitor kind of trounces you so heavily.
But yeah. Alright, so here's where we made the biggest mistake as I'll scroll down. FAC took it, and not only did it take the win, well, let me pull the numbers up. It took no prisoners.
Yeah, no, it was a massacre. That one was brutal.
And I was really shocked that the F7 did not put up a better fight.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
No,
but
I genuinely thought it was going to be a closer, like, even borderlining a tie, maybe. But damn,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, F7.
Yeah, F7 versus F8 had the highest voting turnout. Yeah, that's not surprising to me. And then I guess you take the highest voting turnout and you divide it between the F8 that got what are they at? Let me pull this back up. They got 18,000 votes and the Mark II that only got 9,000.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it is just it is just a slaughter. But saying that, now we can I guess we can look back and make another set of wrong predictions.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So here, today's bracket, we already know who's winning. It's gonna be the little turtle.
Yep. Yeah, Terrapin kind of has this one in the bag.
Now, once it hits semifinals, what do you think's gonna happen in the finals, C1 versus Terrapin?
Oh boy. Oh boy. What was the C1 turnout again? What was its vote count?
Yeah, about 18,000.
I think the C1's gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I personally think the C1 has enough paints. It has so many paints in the store. It had quite a lot of what were they, like the prestige paints and stuff? Like it had a lot of them. It had like what four or five just standard store paints. It doesn't need any more, guys. Chill out. You have paints. Let the poor Terrapin win.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm remembering the C1 also carries the torch for the E1 and A1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're guessing here. Terrapin versus C1 is obvious. Probably C1, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then here, I think we already dipped into that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fury LX is able to push back the Titan that is the Reclaimer.
No, I really don't think it has a fighting chance on it.
If it does, I would be shocked, but I've been shocked before this bracket.
Yep, I was gonna say guess what? We've been wrong before now.
And another one I don't think I'm going to be wrong about. I think Sulian versus F8. I genuinely do not believe that there is a reality in which the Sulian beats the F8.
Yeah.
So it'll be F8 versus what I'm guessing as my headcanon here is it's going to be F8 versus Reclaimer.
Okay.
And I think the F8 will push past the Reclaimer. I think, like we said, the C1 is going to take its fight against the Terrapin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be F8 versus C1.
Okay. Yeah. No, I could understand and agree with that.
Now, if that's wrong, we would likely see. I don't even know. I don't see a reality where it's not C1 versus F8 in the end. I think.
Yeah. No. That. To me, that makes the most sense.
I don't like. I think that Fury Reclaimer is the only one, having seen how all of this has gone. It is the only bracket that I am not sure about.
Hmm.
But the Reclaimer's a money printer, so like realistically, the Reclaimer should beat the Fury.
Yeah, it's got such a strong. It's got such a strong base to it. I don't see how it wouldn't win. It's a good moneymaker. It's a good multi-cruise ship. Salvage is a very popular thing. So, I don't know. I don't see how it would.
Well, it's also incredibly profitable and popular, so like people want their money in game. So
yeah,
like the Reclaimer's kind of the way to do that right now.
yeah. No, I could agree with that.
Now, if everybody's ready, I will jump into my rant.
I want to hear this rant because you've been talking about it even before the show. So
Yeah.
let's hear this rant.
All right, so some of the people on our Discord probably saw me talking about my like rant beforehand because I was typing back and forth with some people. But I think this this ship showdown is a really, I don't want to say bad example, like it's a good example of a bad thing. I think it's a really good example of the bad thing that is the ship showdown. Basically, after the first one, became not about the ships winning on their own merit. It became about what ship wins based on what skin or what meme is around. And I think this year was incredibly. It was really a show of that.
So what drives that point for you?
So for me, like the ships that are winning here, some of them were on merit, and every year we stray a little bit further from what is on merit. Like was it last year or the year before? Last year it was the MPUV managed to push all the way to the top. And it was because the meme vote was so powerful that nothing could be done. And I think that as an idea that the meme vote can just take over, it makes the ship showdown feel a lot less important to people who are backing specific ships. And I think the meddling makes it feel less valuable when your ship wins and less, I guess, less interesting if your ship doesn't. Like, you have less interest in the competition overall.
Yeah. No, I could agree with that.
Like, okay, so today was a really good example, and I think that the next time that the Terrapin goes into the ship showdown, I think it's going to prove my point here, and it's that the 600i has, I don't have I don't have the metrics, I don't have the numbers, but I am guessing based on flight time in the game, the 600i probably has 10 times the flight time that a Terrapin would have if you take a chunk of like the last 6 months. And like I would die on the hill that the 600i is 10 times more flight time. But because people are like, I want to pay it for the Terrapin, this regularly forgotten ship is getting boosted beyond its means out of the goal of just a paint.
Okay. No, I can fully I can understand that 100%.
And I think, like, realistically, when we get to this battle right here, C1 versus Terrapin, I think what we're going to see is the C1 is going to slaughter the Terrapin because the Terrapin only got to semifinals for the paint, and then nobody's going to care about it again. It's going to get forgotten just like it has been every year. The player base will try and push it to Ship Showdown. It will not, or it'll either not win, it'll win a skin, and like whether it wins, loses, it will disappear once it's got the skin. And I'll be honest, the 890 was about to be the same. The 890 was heavily meddled this year, but it even didn't win. Like, there's a lot of meddling going on in the community. And again, the Terrapin, I think it's going to be a slaughter. The C1's going to obliterate it.
If we look alone at the votes, just for it's I don't know how it could be otherwise.
Yeah, and it's going to be because people don't care. People don't care about the Terrapin beyond this whole big thing about the paint. And with ships that don't have paints set up in the game, it instantly lopsides the whole tournament. Not having good paints and not having this hex color thing that CIG's been talking about for years really lopsides this tournament.
Yeah. I want ships to actually win because they're good ships or people use them or they're actually popular. Like you said, the amount of people that vote on them for memes or don't vote for them for the meme is more than it should be.
Yes, and the Terrapin getting the votes that it's gotten this year, it was for sure the meme vote, and the couple of communities that, like, and I'm gonna say it for real, it's the couple of communities that meddle very, very hard, decided at the beginning of this year the Terrapin was their champion, and the Terrapin will ride up the list as high as it can go until they lose community support or get wiped out by a ship that just has more power and more staying power than it does.
Yeah.
Which I thought the 600i was going to be the ship that would wipe it out. Admittedly, I did. 2-time winner, multiple times on the panel, an absolute titan of Ship Showdown. But it just goes to show that the people behind backing the meme vote can make anything happen, and that this is it's not a competition about how good ships are. It's a competition about where they want the paints to lie.
Yeah. You know that's down the road. I think that's going to become a bigger issue.
Yep, and it every year is snowballing. I feel kind of bad that the 890 jump It was the ship that people tried to meme vote above the 600i, and the 600i still wiped it out. So good for the 600i, which is one of my, like I said last week, one of my two children. Basically had to decide who to old yeller. And I guess most people decided to old yeller the 890 because the 600i, by merit, is a better ship. So, like, I'm glad to see that. Terrapin versus Gladiator, I don't think that was purely by merit, but they were probably, like, they're probably about the same in where merit lies. The Terrapin's a really tanky little explorer. The Gladiator's a very underappreciated fighter bomber.
Another thing is the Terrapin's been mentioned in our community a few times as well as a ship people are actually interested in genuinely. So I'm not surprised to see it doing things or doing well. I think it should do well. I think it should be doing well in those areas overall, but I don't know how ships like that are going to win in the future.
Yeah, and I don't think the Terrapin being here lacks merit, but I do think the Terrapin winning today would definitely be an example of lack of merit. Because it is not the better ship when it comes to the 600i. It lacks a lot of gameplay features. It doesn't even have cargo space. I understand the 600i Explorer has the wonkiest cargo space in the game, but the Terrapin doesn't have any. The Terrapin barely has a bed, and its guns are piddly, so you can't really do much in the game with the Terrapin. You can daily drive the 600i.
Yeah.
And that's my statement. I don't care that the 600i is losing as well. It's the same statement as before. It doesn't feel as like... It doesn't feel like I'm backing my favorite sports team or anything like that, because I know that this has basically already been pre-decided. The Terrapin taking semifinals was already decided.
And I think that is one of the overlying larger issues when it comes to the game is, like you said, things are already decided before they're even actually done. And when it comes to a ship showdown and stuff like this, I don't think that is fair.
And it's like most of the time you have something like this and it's like pre-decided. It's pre-decided by the people who put on the tournament. In this case, it was pre-decided by the community. Like, once the first bracket came out, Terrapin people were already saying like this is the clean sweep, and the people that are pushing the narrative to other people already said this is the sweep. It didn't matter what happened here. This is the sweep. And that's decided. Terrapin is going to get here, at least. And it's unfortunate because you look at your ships here, and like I'm very biased this year because these are two of my favorites. Yeah. It was decided that they were going to lose before Ship Showdown even happened. It was chosen. The community had decided that they were losing.
Yeah.
And then, like, Fury M50, again, like, not to say that all combinations aren't by merit. I think this one is very truly by merit. Most people that race, just numbers-wise, are casuals. They want an easier-to-fly ship. Like I said before, the M50 is just more difficult to fly. So this one could be merit and not skins. Vulture and Reclaimer, I think, also could be merit and not skin. I think Vulture losing may be swayed lightly by the fact the Vulture won last year, and like salvage people want to see both of their ships have a skin, but it's not enough that I'm convinced there was like significant meddling. Cerulean Defender, I didn't pay enough attention to see if there was meddling. And then the culprit, the big culprit, I think it's the most meddled we have ever seen a ship showdown outcome. The F8C versus the F7C. It is the most meddled we've actually seen because, as opposed to people backing the meme vote or backing the meme community, there were subsections of people who were actively, knowingly spreading misinformation this year.
Really?
I managed to stumble across I think it was on Facebook, I managed to stumble across a group of people who were talking about, like, yeah, we're all going to post to our various pages of Star Citizen. And, like, we are going to say that the F7C and F7A do not exist together for a paint. Even though, despite CIG's vague wording, they knew full well that CIG's vague wording meant that the F7A and the F7C, at least for the Mark II variants, were tied together as one ship.
Now, see, to me, that's... I wanted the F8 to win, but that's not the right way for it to win.
No, and that was the thing, is CIG was vague, which is, like, problematic. But they were vague enough that people that had malice in their hearts and malice in their minds, they could twist the words and use them to absolutely slaughter the F7C. Which, like we said last week, the F7C deserves, I think, just about as much of a spot in this tournament as the F8. They are both incredible fighters, and they're both incredibly popular within the community.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's the F7A. The F7A is the popular one. There's no questioning that. The C is not the popular version.
The C is... What's the best way to put it? It's a neat ship, but by no means can it ever hold up to the A, with it being a flat-out military version ship.
Well, and that's the big thing, is if you're voting straight on the merit of the C being what it is, the F7C Hornet Mark II is not in any world competition to the F8C. But when you make sure that you're clear that the F7A and the F7C Hornet Mark II, just like the 600i Touring and Explorer, just like the C1A1E1, you are choosing either the available or the most popular of your ships in the tournament. Like, in this case, it's the most available because the F7A was a competition, or not a competition, it was an event upgrade.
Yeah.
It was a stepping stone. And no wonder if you treat it as specifically a stepping stone, it's not going to do well. And that was what the goal was from these bad actors. The goal was, it is specifically a stepping stone. It's the F7C. You don't get a skin for the A. The people with the A don't get a skin. And I think that's a problem.
That is something that is not good nor right, nor should be. I can't even say allowed because it's not an allowance, but that doesn't... I don't know how you can be okay with that, knowing, like, hey, I'm sweating this out of a lie. It's stupid.
And, like, honest to goodness, watching how the ships compete, like, in specific players lists, because I've dug through a bit. That's how I found the group talking about the plot, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been significantly more balanced. I think the F8C still had a very good likelihood of winning because it is very popular.
Yeah. Well, it's hands down, it's a great ship. There's no denying it. But the F7 is also a great ship.
Yeah.
it should have been nothing but a fair battle, and the fact that misinformation twisted it is not good for the community at all.
Yeah. And it's the whole idea of CIG can say one thing vaguely once, and as long as enough people in the echo chamber throw the wrong thing around, then the community is going to listen to what is wrong. And I don't have the screenshot saved, but I did see on one of the Star Citizen, I think it was a Facebook page, I can't remember, but moderator had to lock the post because somebody was calling somebody else stupid for saying, here's the information right here from CIG, the F8A and the F8C are together. Somebody was bashing somebody else for that, which just goes to show you can say anything, and if you say it loud enough with enough people, it doesn't matter what the truth is.
To me, that just makes it's so much dumber.
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. Why would you waste the time and put in the malice to put in misinformation just to win a ship skin? Either or should have won, but I want the ship showdowns and this is right now. There's a lot of ships, but there's going to be a lot more in the future. Things are going to get more and more and more twisted, especially as we get more variants.
Yeah,
and more people come into the game.
Like the Zeus it's gonna end up on here. The Zeus will be on here for sure. And like Swerve said, the Zeus is gonna be here. Probably the Galaxy's gonna be here. The Polaris is gonna be here. Like next year it might just be all RSI ships. The ship showdown is the RSI showdown.
Yeah.
But like,
no, I can see it.
As long as it's merit. I think that's the most important thing in my book, is as long as the win is by merit and not by community meddling, I'm happy. Because if it's by merit, you don't get a situation where, like, I, as an F7C lover, am just pissed that it did so badly out of misinformation. And I assume, as an F8C lover, the win doesn't feel as
doesn't feel genuine. I don't feel like it actually won. I feel like it feels like it was pushed in a lie just to get the top spot. I think it could have won without it, but why did it have to be lied about?
Like, I'm gonna make a wild reference here. But for people who watch like lots of sports, or if you're a Super Bowl fan, you'll go and you'll back your team. But it's not going to feel good if your team wins because like your team's coach walked over to the other team and just took a shotgun to every single other player's leg. They can't win. No. So you win? Like, oh, they win, but like at what cost?
Yeah. No, that's a pretty... I mean, I'm gonna be honest, that's a pretty spot-on way to go about it and explain it. Like, it shouldn't win because, we spit out lies and bullshit about it. It's, hey, this is genuinely a good ship. It should win, and guess what? It did win. Mm-hmm. Why are we... We shouldn't be happy at the fact that it pulled this off in this sense.
No, and if it had been even more, I don't know, if it had been even more even, if the numbers had not been such a ginormous gap, I admittedly would have been, okay, like things got spread, that's fine. Ship Showdown gets a little dirty every year. Some people play a little dirtier than others. It is what it is.
It happens, but
But this was a 10,000 vote gap on two ships that are, like, realistically, they're two ships that could take, in their own merit, could take Ship Showdown.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the worst part about it is that it's one off of a lie now.
Yep. And I don't like I think that the plot against the F7C was like significant. That's my headcanon based on what I saw. I only saw one thing that I was quickly ousted from. I don't know why I was able to see it, but Facebook Mobile, go Facebook Mobile for showing you like I think it was a thread. I think people were talking in threads or whatever, and it shows you a little preview of what a thread is, and what it showed was somebody saying like they were telling everybody to do X. So I was like, okay, I saw this once and never gave it a second thought, and then I was like, oh my god, look at the numbers. Whatever happened in this thread worked.
Yeah.
Like,
so it got enough traction where it just outright was like, yep, we're taking this.
Yeah, it just like this group must have decided it's happening, and therefore it happened.
Yeah, no, to me that comes down to bad actors.
Yep.
Like just hands down.
And hopefully CIG can make a better effort at keeping them away next year. I don't know.
I don't know how they could, but I hope they can.
Yes, I hope there is something that can be done. But with that, nope. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, with that, guess what? Down the road, that could turn people away from even bothering to participate or anything, really.
Yeah, maybe people just won't vote. Look, I'm getting kind of disenfranchised with it. Like, the skins are cool, sure, but like that's all it's become, and it's not become a race of whose ship is better. Like, one does not win or lose or whatever. Like, you win or lose based on what paints you get.
Yeah.
That said, to jump back to something that's a little more positive than my rant, I'm gonna throw the browser capture back up. We did have a awesome ISC this week with let me just make sure I've got the name right. I believe it was Gavin Rothery.
Yes.
Yes, I was to say because I didn't want to butcher that.
No, I mean, look, the 110%. That was probably one of my favorite ISCs.
And it was more than just, hey, let's talk about ships and let's talk about new ships. Because this is really the only image we got in that ISC that was anything of like new substance. I think the best part was just like, this is the guy who has designed the most ships for Star Citizen, and this is his process. And it seemed pretty reasonable what his process was, admittedly.
Well, and I also feel like it gave a lot of people insight of how things are actually done there with the ships now. Because so many people just think, build ship, give ship.
Yep.
And it's like, wow, there is... And the thing is, I feel like most people already knew a lot of work was put in to these ships, but actually seeing it in those aspects gave me, I would say, it gave me a lot more enjoyment about owning the ships as well.
I agree. They feel more significant when the guy who made them is in front of your face, and especially when he's in front of your face saying like how proud he is to see them doing what they're doing in like Ship Showdown and like their general popularity within the community.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think it's probably one of the most important aspects of it at this point.
And
Like,
I would say, and Gavin as a designer is obviously he's very strong at what he does. He's done about a bajillion ships, but it also, and I don't remember where I said this or who I said this to, but I am of the opinion that this is the answer to why are there so many ships coming out and not bug fixes, which is the age-old question about Star Citizen. And I think the answer is because like concept artists like Gavin and the other guys that have been there, there are like 5 or 6 of them, and they just do not stop. They produce amazing stuff, and they enjoy it.
yeah, that's what it really comes down to majority wise is like these guys really love what they do. This isn't really like I understand it's their job, but it's not even like a job to them.
Yeah, and he was very clear, like it's work, but it is some of the most fun work he's ever done. Which like makes me think, okay, like if it's some of the most fun work you've ever done, you probably go home at the end of the day and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna think about what I'm working on, blah blah blah. And he probably spends more time than like is on the clock thinking about these concepts, meaning that they come out quickly. Like this Zeus is it's a concept that was 3 concepts that existed kind of out of nowhere on top of all the other RSI concepts.
Yeah, no, I mean they have a bunch of them that they're working on and doing like almost constantly here, and now I would say getting a view into what they're actually doing is I would say is almost a good step for us as players to understand what's going on.
Yeah, because you look at it and you say, guys, like the person who's designing these ships is like they're working very quickly and they're loving their job. No wonder more ship designs happen, and it's making money.
Well,
So like,
I also something else that I feel is extreme, like is going to be overlooked extremely as well is either if these guys don't like their jobs, we're not going to get good ships.
no, because these new ships like are really really good, and the stuff that Gavin has like put through his, and I'm gonna air quotes here, Star Citizen resume, it's all quite phenomenal. Like he's responsible for things like the Saber, the Cyclone, and regardless of how these ships perform in game, or whether they exist in game or not, most people can say like the Saber, whether it's a functionally good ship or not, is very pretty. It is incredibly pretty, regardless.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I was on the fence for such a long time about buying the Saber, and when I finally saw the Firebird and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, we're up against missiles. Hey, we're doing this," and I piloted it. I fell in love.
Right? And then you've got like it went concept to completion. And you get to think about like, well, that was a Gavin Rothery. That was where that began. It began with this guy. And I think honestly, like, it's always been a thing for me thinking about CitizenCon, which apparently there's still tickets available for. For me, has always been a thing to go to like a CitizenCon and meet the developers who worked on like specific ships that are favorites of mine, and get like I'll print a nice image on like cardstock or something and get them to all initial it,
That would
because
be
I think that
really
would be
cool.
super cool. like put all the key players on a specific ship. Like I am no stranger to the fact that I now love the F7 Mark II. Like I've not stopped saying it. But to get all the devs that worked on that to put a signature on a piece of paper for it, that would be so cool.
It really, really, really would. And the amount of effort, I mean, looking at the Zeus alone, Zeus already is one of my favorite looking ships of all time.
Yep.
110%. I think it looks amazing.
And the fact that it came. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I cannot wait to actually see it in game.
Oh, same.
Fly around it and check it out. I feel like this is one of those ships I'm gonna spend. I know it's not huge, but I'm literally gonna be going in and just checking out the ship for a day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it will be crazy.
Like it's, I want it. I want it now. I want it.
I want them now. It. I want all these ships now.
Because they look so freaking good.
Yeah. Well, I think since we're at 5 minutes past 8, this is probably a good spot for us to do a quick little wrap up.
Probably a good idea.
We ranted about a lot of things tonight. A lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of in between. I think the end point we were on is good. That the devs still very clearly love what they're doing. At least the ones they're putting on camera. I know they had a huge company shift over the last year, so like probably the ones that don't love what they're doing probably aren't at the company anymore. But you know, the devs we're seeing in these ISCs and like the ones that are talking on Spectrum and the ones that are actively engaging with the community are still very confident and they love what they're doing, which as a backer, I know for a lot of people that's not like that whole thing isn't enough, but for me, that's more than enough.
No, 100%.
If someone loves what they do and they make a product out of it, I cannot be mad because that means they're still doing what they love.
I also genuinely think and feel that if they love what they're doing, then we're going to get better quality stuff. Your employees need to be happy. They need to be happy with what they're doing, how they're going about things. If they're not, what's the point?
Yep, that's how you get the best product out of somebody is make sure they're doing what they want to do and enjoying the time that they do it.
100%.
And with that, I guess we'll say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.